Y'all want to talk about pretty privilege? I'm seeing a lot of pretty people talking about how pretty privilege isn't real and they don't fucking have it and blah, blah, blah. Shut up. No. You want to talk about pretty privilege? Talk to people who had a glow up. If they were ugly in some kind of way and now they're somewhat attractive or very attractive, whatever, they will tell you pretty privilege is fucking real. Because when you weren't attractive, it was like everything you did was like annoying. Like your presence just like pissed people off. If you asked a question, you were the biggest like irritation of life. But when you're like stereotypically attractive, like whatever, you get away with so much more. People are so much nicer to you. It is the realest shit. It's beyond me that this is even a fucking conversation. Let's be fucking for real.
So growing up, I was really fucking ugly. I didn't really like even know I was ugly. Like, you know when like you have that revelation of like when you know you're hot? Like imagine having that revelation of knowing you're fucking ugly. And that's exactly what was happening. Like I had that revelation of like, oh my fucking god, I'm ugly. Cuz growing up I never really thought that like your appearance really mattered. And it was like weird. What is up, you guys? Welcome to the first episode of the new year of the Unhinged Diaries podcast. Woo-wee. Today's episode is going to be a very interesting one. It might be controversial. It might piss some people off. And if it does piss people off to the point of them leaving a comment like, oh my god, bitch, you're fucking ugly. You shouldn't even be talking about this topic. Or you're not even qualified to talk about this. You know what? Maybe you should leave a comment, okay? For the sake of views, because you know the engagement, the views have been pretty low. Like, go for it. Drag me in the comment section, okay? Argue with me if anything. But I don't know. I've been wanting to make this episode or video for a hot minute. Like I could really go in, and today we're just gonna address it. We're gonna address it, and not only that, but we have so much to just discuss. Okay, y'all. Like y'all know me. I gotta tell y'all about my problems because you know my therapist like. I need to give her a break sometimes, okay? She can't handle everything. Y'all have to step in, okay? But I have a drinkity drink here with me. Y'all can't tell me the logo is iconic. Like, I can't wait till the damn make merch. Like, I cannot wait. Like, it's so cute. And I'm feeling good right now. I don't know. I wasn't gonna drink because obviously it's a new year, trying to have new good habits, but I was feeling anxious. I'm not gonna lie, I was really feeling anxious. I don't know why. It's like whenever I'm about to start the video and I'm about to press play, I get so anxious. And then like it could be like 2 minutes or even a minute in, I'm like comfortable. I'm like, oh, okay. It feels like what I do in the mirror when the camera's not playing and I'm like mentally ill talking to myself. Like that's what it feels like right now. So I feel good. But it's always before pressing play. I don't know if any other content creator can relate to that or anybody else. Like I don't know, it's so weird. Like when before I'm about to press play, I'm like shaking, anxious, like, oh my god, like do I want to do this? And like a minute goes by, I'm like, oh, let me just act like I'm talking to myself in the mirror. But yeah, as many as my continuing listeners and viewers, physical viewers, as many of you guys know, I like to start off my podcast episodes with one positive thing that happened to me this week and then one negative. And it's about damn time that I didn't have that many negative that happened to me this week. Well, more like small dilemmas, but it's not like, you know, my other episodes if you've been watching. If you have, I love you. But I like, you know, the past couple weeks when it came to the negative was more like struggling with like depression and like becoming disciplined and like mental things. Whereas this week it wasn't really that bad. I can really say like maybe it's because it's the holidays and I feel pretty good. I've been hanging with my family and normally anyone who keeps up with me would know that the holidays is normally really hard for me. Like I normally don't ever like the holidays because it's just rough. Like it's really hard seeing people with like really good big families or so many friends and there's me and it's like oh you know, but this year was really good. Like I really did enjoy it. So let's talk about, I guess you can say, the negative thing, because the positive thing we have a lot to discuss in regard to that, which I'm really excited about. So the negative thing, I guess you can say, that happened to me this week, it wasn't really a thing. It's more like uh awareness, a recognition. So I've been noticing that I still keep fucking like snoozing my alarms and I don't like it. Like I work overnight, so anyone who works overnights know like how brutal it can be. And been really like trying to discipline myself to stop snoozing my alarms so I could have more time throughout the day to do what needs to be done. And lately I've been snoozing my alarm, even though I haven't let it get as bad as I would before. Like there's times I will let my alarm like snooze for like 3 hours straight, and I'm just like going back to sleep, going back to sleep. I know people out there who snooze their alarms can relate to that. Like it's so brutal when you let it go off for hours, and you look at the timer like, 'cause you mean to tell me for 3 hours straight I was just snoozing and go back to sleep, going back to sleep? Like it's crazy. But I really want to this year to stop doing that because I want to discipline myself. It's like, okay, of course sleep is important, but also being productive, because when I let that, like if I let that alarm snooze and I don't get what needs to be done, that's when I get so depressed. That's when I feel so unproductive, and it's just not good. So it's like you might as well like just get up, and like just, it's hard though. Like anyone who can like relate, it's hard. Like the moment that alarm snoozes once and you're like ready to get up, that's ugh, that discipline is so hard. It is so rough. But I've been trying. Like today, I let it snooze a couple times and I'm like, you bitch. Like you're doing it again. Like I've been catching myself. It's like you're doing it again. And I'm happy that I have that awareness where I'm not like Delulu. And it's like, oh. Like back then I would literally just tell myself, Ali, you deserve sleep, okay? You do so much. You deserve sleep, bitch. Like I be sleeping too much. So there's times I'm sleeping so much that it's like nothing is getting done. Like, bitch, you're fine. Like, you are fine. Like, you're taking care of yourself. You're eating. You're taking care of your body. Like, you're fine. So I'm trying to learn not to be too gracious towards myself. Like, okay, bitch, like you slept. You're fine. Like, let's go wash our face, put some really cold water, and we'll go on through with the day. Like, I'm trying to, but it's hard, okay? It's hard. And I've been really feeling bad about myself. Because what? It's the third day of the new year. And I'm like, I did this 3 days straight already. Like, just losing the alarm. Like, I'm trying to stop. And it's rough. It's rough, but I'll get there, okay? Maybe day 4, y'all. I'll get it, okay? I'm trying for day 4. You know, tomorrow, I'm gonna let that alarm only go off once. I'm gonna set that as a goal. Like, let that alarm only snooze once and you'll get your ass up. Get up. But it's hard. It's really, really hard. And I've been struggling, but we'll get there, okay? The fourth time is the charm, okay? So now, the positive thing that happened to me this week. Where do I begin, y'all? It's been a pretty okay week, okay? So right beside me, which you guys can't see, I have my vision board all complete. And me and my best friend, like, spent, like, 2 days straight. Like the first day we went out and like organized what we wanted, our goals, like what our goals are going to be for this year, and look for pictures that mimic that, obviously. And then the second day is when we started gluing everything and like creating the vision board of like the way we would want it to be. And it was so much fun. Like I love my vision board so much. Every time I wake up and I see it, it's just like, I think what I did last year to accomplish a lot of goals is the fact that like I would have a piece of paper on the mirror and I would just write out my goals and then check it off when I did it or I accomplished it. So like with that method, it did help, but it also installed a lot of anxiety whenever I would see several days go by and I see that paper and it's like, oh my God, that goal that's really important to me, that I really want to accomplish, it hasn't been accomplished. So it's like, what am I going to do? Like I start to get anxious and I start to like want to rush that goal. Whereas a vision board, that's why I really do like the idea of a vision board, because you're seeing a picture. So when you're seeing a picture, it creates a feeling. So when, like, for example, I have the 100,000 subscribers, like, you know, little plaque. And whenever I look at that, it's like, it gives me joy of like, oh my God, I can't wait till I'm holding that in my hand. And I'm making a video. Thank you guys so much for like sticking through, like, you know, the trenches to like, you know, where I'm end up gonna be when I accomplish that. Like that feeling is just so good compared to like seeing it on a paper saying I will achieve 100,000 subscribers, you know, this year. It's like that would give me so much more anxiety. It's like, oh my God, like just seeing it on paper, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to hurry up. Like I need to push more content so people are gonna want to subscribe. Looking at the like, you know, picture on my vision board, it like installs like that feeling of like, oh my God, you know, for me to get there, let me start looking, you know, writing down a lot of videos that I'm very passionate about that you guys will like, that I like as well. And, you know, it just like it installs like a different feeling, if that makes any sort of sense. Like it's such a different experience. And I definitely recommend a vision board way more than just writing your goals out on paper and like sticking it to a mirror. You can try that as well. Like try it out and let me see if maybe that method works out better for you. Because maybe it does the complete opposite for someone. If them seeing a picture, it does, you know, creates the anxiety, whereas seeing it on a paper, it makes them more motivated. Everything works differently for other people. Just don't ever feel like if you like create a vision board and it didn't work out for you, that there's not other ways for you to feel motivated to achieve your goals this year. So find out your own method, okay? Like, it is what, the third day of the year, y'all. Like, we have a lot of time to accomplish a lot of goals. So if you even haven't even started your vision board yet or writing out your goals for this year, you still have time, okay? You still have time. So bitch, do it. But get to it ASAP, okay? Like, you have time. Like, get to it ASAP. Declare what you will want to accomplish and manifest, and start working towards it, okay? Start working towards it. It was that happened to me this week. Oh yeah, so today was my first session back with my therapist in like over a month. Like I said, y'all, my last couple episodes, if you're like, why is this bitch like extra trauma dumping? Like, she doesn't trauma dump this much. So is her therapist on break? Is she on vacation? And if you ever see me overshare like that, then that's usually the case, okay? So yeah, it's been a month since I've seen her, and I was just catching her up with everything, and it was like a really good overall session. And with that, like at the end of the session really shocked me, because she says that she had a packs of makeup. She's like, Ali, I have so much makeup that I don't really need. Like, I had the subscription BoxyCharm. For any of those who don't know what BoxyCharm is, it's like a subscription you get to like get like really high quality, like, you know, makeup for like, you know, percentage of like, you know, whatever. So like she would have that, and she's like, there's so many times I'll get palettes and I don't really use eyeshadow palettes, so I'll just let it literally stack up at home, and to the point where I started realizing how much was there. So I know that you're so into makeup and you want to build your makeup kit and how expensive that can be. So I thought, why not give you all these palettes that like I know that are good quality, high, you know, like luxurious brands. Like, why not give it to you? When I tell you guys, when I saw this bag, there was like 50 different palettes. I'm not even over exaggerating. And there were like palettes that were like what I wanted when I was like, you know, they're like pretty old. I'm not gonna lie, like Lorac, like the Lorac Pro palette. The girlies know. And that shit is old, but you had to be there when that shit was popping off. That shit was so expensive. Like, it was only like the rich girls that got it. Like, I never had my hands on it. I was poor, okay? I could not afford it. So seeing it, I was just like, this is like 16-year-old Ali, like just feeling complete. Like, oh my God, like I could never get my hands on this, and here I am now. Like, it was crazy. And there were so many like high quality palettes. If you notice why my makeup looks so slay today, that is why. And it was perfect for this episode, you know, because I look snatched today. But yeah, like that was really, really nice. And overall, like it really was just a good week. I had a lot of good revelations about things. Like, another thing that was really positive that happened was, I think it was on New Year's Eve, I had to work. So that, I really did enjoy that though, that I worked, because I was planning on calling out for New Year's Eve, because I work overnights New Year's Eve to like New Year's. Like, I was really planning on calling out, but I'm like, you know what? I really want to go into the new year working, so that can set the tone of what I really want this year to represent, which is, you know, work, discipline, and following my goals. Because last year I went into 2023 drunk as shit, blacked out drunk, and that really did set the tone for what the year was. I really was not disciplined at all. I was drinking, partying all the time, which I don't regret any of it, because it created so much character development, and I needed to experience that to be where I'm at now. And I really did enjoy the fact that I worked this year. But without me getting off track, on New Year's Eve, my cousin came over because her birthday's on the 28th. So I had to give her her Christmas gift and her birthday present. And when I got her gift, basically, we did a tarot card reading. I already know, I'm always getting tarot card readings from her. And I was asking her for, like, career, what's coming towards me in career for 2024. Like, I'm expecting good things because I'm so optimistic. Like, I really am optimistic this year. Like, I am going to achieve hella shit. Even if it's not everything on my vision board, I'm going to achieve a lot. And she said there was a lot of negative cards in my career reading. I'm like, ugh. I was like, what? This is making me sad. Like, why? Like, you know, anyone's into tarot card readings, when you start getting hella reverse cards, it's not good. A lot of my cards were reversed, and I'm like, ugh. And even though it was a career reading, she was like, what basically the cards are telling me is that you're holding on to a lot of resentment towards someone, and you need to let it go. It's creating a lot of blockages for blessings and things you want to experience. And if y'all watched my last podcast episode, you would know that I was talking about how I was really resentful towards, not really resentful towards my sister. It was more like I was hurt, but I was resentful to my ex-guy best friend that I had a really nasty falling out with. And I'm like, bro, I'm not ready to forgive. I thought we went through this. I'm not ready to forgive. Like, I'm still mad. Like, I'm still really, really hurt. I feel taken advantage of. Like, I feel played. Like I feel like all of the above. And I'm just not ready to like forgive. Or even like my situationship that like happened. I'm still very hurt. And like I am resentful towards him too. Who I'm really, really resentful towards is my ex guy best friend. Like I really feel played. I really feel taken advantage of. And I'm just like, I'm not ready. Like I'm hurt to the point where I really don't think him and I can ever be friends again. Like I can't see him ever being in my life and that being healthy. And I think there's resentment towards that because I really feel hurt that that's what really has come down to, is that I don't feel like it's healthy for him to be in my life. And that hurts because it's like I really do like respect him. We had such a deep emotional connection, and it doesn't like, and it's not like love or feelings. It's more like, you ever like just have a connection with someone, it's like extremely platonic. Like y'all saw our friendship. Like for me it was just strictly platonic, and I loved having a friend like that where we can literally overshare to the fullest capacity, but I can also like tell you like the darkest things I'm not like comfortable just telling anyone. And it hurts losing that, and it hurts like having to accept that like he's just not, it's like he served his purpose in my life, and I feel like I'm not ready to accept that. Like I'm not ready to accept the fact that like he served his purpose. He taught me everything that I know, and it hurts to like let him go because we really, really were close. Like he was my best friend, and it sucks like so much, and I'm resentful because it's like you took advantage of me, you hurt me, like you weren't what I thought you were, and that really fucking sucks. But at the same time, it's like you can't expect people, like you can't control everything, and you can't expect people to be a specific way. People are going to be who they are. And the beautiful thing about life is when people serve their purpose, you're going to find other people and more experiences. So like I know I'm gonna find other friendships that are gonna be so deep and meaningful. It just sucks when it ends. Like I'm allowed to be resentful. I'm allowed to fucking be mad and bitter. Like it's not forever. Like I'm not that person anymore. I've grown a lot to be that resentful for like ever, for months. It's just like it's only been like what, a couple weeks or even a month that we fell off and we don't talk anymore. So like I feel like that's like, I'm healing, okay? Like that's pretty early, like the early healing stages. I'm allowed to be a little bitter and hurt and resentful, but like the cards are blowing my shit. I'm like, damn, tell me that, okay, like I get it, I need to let it go, but like am I still gonna have good shit come my way? Like I was hurt, but maybe like one thing I like is when I get tarot cards reading like almost like weekly, bi-weekly with my cousin. She'll tell me like, look at these, like if you get a bad reading, just look at it as this should be my focus for the next week, is like, maybe this week you can focus on letting go of that resentment, like slowly like forgiving yourself and forgiving the other person, because nobody's wrong at the end of the day. It just didn't work out and things are what they are. So I'm just trying to take that approach. I'm still fucking bitter, I'm still hurt, but things are what they are, and I'm being dramatic. Okay, I'm a Cancer and he's a Cancer too, which makes it even fucking worse. Like I'm tired of dealing with people with my own fucking sign. Like I really am. I know I'm talking way too much. Like bitch, get to the video. One more thing, okay? One more ranting thing, okay? So I wanted to start off this new year being celibate, but temptation is coming my way, and I'm like, do like, it's not like I set that as like an actual goal, because if it was a goal then I had to stand by it, but it was more like it would be nice, it would be nice. So this guy, I didn't tell y'all, okay? I kept it a secret. I did not tell you guys when this happened. This happened like, I would say like what, 2 months ago, like 2 months ago, when this incident happened. I didn't tell you guys because I was ashamed, because I was trying to rebrand. I'm like, I don't want them to know that I did this because it's crazy, it's wild. But since I rebranded, I don't look at it with like so much like embarrassment anymore. I'll just tell you guys. So I had to say November. This had to be November, right? I would have to think this happened in November. So there was this guy that I had like, well, I did kind of tell you guys a little bit of it. I just didn't tell you what I did afterwards. So there was an episode I made with Marcus, my ex-guy best friend, where I talked about how I had this big crush on this guy that like I really, really liked. And my, best friend Natalie happens to be really, like, they're literally best friends, like, whatever. I feel like that's like revealing who it is, but it's not, okay? That's as much information I'm going to give you. Like, if people start connecting the lines, mind your business. Don't even comment. Don't just know who I'm talking about. Be like, okay, I'm keeping it a secret. I know who Allie's fucking talking about, but shh. So I had a big crush on like one of her, best friends. Not saying who. And we hooked up. Okay, we hooked up. I was like blackout drunk the entire time. So I'm still bitter as fuck that I don't remember any of it. And before anyone's like, "Oh my god, he took it." No, bitch, like no. Samantha was present, okay? Samantha, like she did her thing. Allie, like she was in and out. Like I remember like glimpses of it. And of course, like I wanted it. Like I'm just mad I don't remember a lot of it. I remember like bits and pieces. And yeah, Samantha, I'm sure Samantha had a fucking blast because Allie was like, like she's partially unavailable. So it was fucking crazy. And the following day, if he sees this, I am so sorry. He's like, I'm never hooking up with that girl ever again. She's crazy. I dodged a bullet. So the day afterwards, when I first started getting into the dating world, there's this guy that I was talking to. And like I had a really big crush on him because he's like ideally like my type. Like he gets his nails done, like he has long hair, beard, like tattoos. Like he's literally my type. Like he's so like in touch with his feminine side, but also masculine side, but like his feminine side as well. And the thing is, he's a Cancer, y'all. I can't do cancers ever again. I have enough trauma, but yeah. And he wants to hook up. Like we hooked up like the day after, me and that guy that I had a crush on in high school. So that was very slutty of me. I don't ideally do that. Like when that happened, I was like, okay, Allie, this is why I need to rebrand. Like we're taking it too far. So he was the last person I hooked up with because after that I was like, you know what, celibate. Like I'm trying to figure out what I want to accomplish for 2024. Like I had a lot of things I had on my mind. So with that being said, he wants to hook up again, and I'm like, it was bomb, y'all. It was like the best I had. And I'm like, ugh. Like it was really, really good. And then if you like, I talk about so much of what's happening in my life. Like if you watch one of my episodes, like again with my guy best friend, there's this girl that I went on a date with that I really, really had so much fun with, that I really liked her. It was almost like I was catching feelings for her. Like I really, really liked her. But like she's so emotionally unavailable, and the more I think about it, so am I. So it just wasn't gonna work out, and she wants to hook up. They both want to hook up, and it's like, who do I pick? Like I need your guys' opinion. Who should I pick? Or should I just like, Allie, be celibate, focus on growing your podcast, focus on being a good person? Like what should I do? I don't know. Like like my gut's telling me, Allie, don't do neither. But then there's also the other part of my gut. Like if there's like several parts of my gut, like there's one part that is like, you know what? Do it. Do both. Why not? YOLO. And then you can end it and go celibate. Or there's the other part of my gut that's like, do neither, focus on yourself, like blah 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 blah. It's just like, maybe the other part of my gut that's like, you know what, don't do it at all, like just focus on like loving yourself and growing yourself. I should listen to that part. But there's like the toxic part of my gut that's like, just do both, do both, like fuck it. And it's like, no, I'm letting go of those days. Like I'm about to be 25, like 25 in June, and it's like, bitch, we need to be about our money shit. We can't be about this like crazy getting drunk, blackout drunk, or like hookup days. Like those days, I had my my wild time. Like the light is in my fucking face again. Ugh. The last episode, it was doing that a lot. Anywho, yeah, I don't know. A huge part of me is like, don't do it, Allie. But then there's a huge part of me that's like, do it. So I don't know, y'all be the judge in the comment section. Like what should I do? But yeah, that's enough blabbering. Oh my god, we're at 23 minutes. I am so sorry. Timestamps will be in the description. I am so sorry. But now let's get with today's podcast episode on the ugly truth about pretty privilege. So pretty privilege, some people may think that they don't have it. Some people think they might do. Some people might think that there's bad to it. And a lot of people might think there's good to it. And all is true. All is true. But let's talk about my experience with pretty privilege. And before we obviously do that, we have to start from the beginning of, bitch, I wasn't always pretty. I was not always pretty. I was fuggly. Like really, really fuggly growing up. Growing up, I was very like awkward. Like overly awkward. Like I was always content with myself. I was very confident, but I also felt very awkward. Like I don't know how to explain it. I feel like unless you know, like unless you've been in that position, some people are probably nodding like, Allie, I get exactly what you say, but like saying it doesn't make sense. But I promise you, it's a weird combination of being confident but also being very fucking awkward and like self-cautious. And it's one thing to have like that, like I was low-key identifying as that, like someone that was very awkward, very shy. I got bullied a lot growing up, like severely bullied. And like everything is going left. Why do I have an eyelash in my eye? Like, y'all, the universe is like, don't talk about it, don't tell them the secrets. So growing up I was really fucking ugly. And I didn't really like even know I was ugly. Like, you know, when like you have that revelation of like when you know you're hot? Like, imagine having that revelation of knowing you're fucking ugly. And that's exactly what was happening. Like, I had that revelation of like, oh my fucking God, I'm ugly. Because growing up, I never really thought that like your appearance really mattered. And it was like weird. Growing up, pop culture was always my thing. Like, my dad, you know, raised me listening to Michael Jackson, Madonna. Like, those were like my idols. Britney, like, those were my people. And even though obviously their appearance played such a huge part, like obviously when you're in that industry, like your appearance is everything, it's what sells. I still never felt like I was ugly. Like, it was weird. I think that's probably where the confident part of me came, because I identified so much with them. I could resonate with them. It was weird because when they would talk about how like when they were little they always just knew that they were special, that they were talented, I resonated with that. So I feel like that's probably where a lot of my confidence came from. But at the same time, I was still very self-cautious and awkward. So it was like a weird place to be. And I didn't even realize I was ugly until like puberty came. When puberty came and then like my acne started coming in, and it was really, really bad. Like, my acne was horrible. And I knew that that was when I started realizing I was fucking ugly. Was like everybody's skin was clear and then mine was horrible. And of course, like this is like middle school, so like people would like have their breakouts, but it was like never as bad as mine. Like, my acne was like to a different level. I'll insert pictures on the screen. Like, it was horrible. And that wasn't even like the worst part. The worst part was like then my teeth were crooked as fuck, and I started realizing like my teeth were different. Like, I think that what it all came down to was realizing I was different from everybody else. Like, realizing, oh my God, my teeth are fucking crooked as shit. My skin is horrible. I have really, really dark hair that just didn't flatter me at all. I had bushy eyebrows. Like, it was like all these like qualities I started realizing that I started hating about myself, because girls, like when I would get bullied, people would point that out, or I just started comparing myself to other people. Like, I'd compare, like if I had a crush on someone and like someone ends up with that person, I'll compare myself to them. Like, oh, like they're pretty though, they're popular, all the people like them, they're so talkative, they're so social, yeah, I'm awkward, I can't even like speak in front of the whole class. Like, it was like weird things like that. And what made it even worse, and I said this a lot, like I don't think I've ever said this in this podcast, maybe on my TikTok, like when I would talk about like my bullying experience, was it was already bad enough that I was getting bullied at school. So getting bullied at home, like that just shows you and paints you the picture that like I didn't have a safe space anywhere really. Like, I was constantly just being torn apart about my appearance. Like, being told all those things at school already fucking suck, but imagine the people that are supposed to love you and accept you are constantly tearing you apart as well. Like, when I'd be at home, I noticed that everybody treated me differently compared to my sister. And my sister, it's crazy how everyone always tried to pin us against each other, and we never did, and she ended up still being my best friend, and I love her so much. But everyone compared me to her. They were always like, oh, why can't you be like your sister? She's so beautiful, she's so smart, she has a beautiful long hair, because she was like straightening it every day. Like, I'll never forget those days in middle school. And my sister would straighten her hair every fucking day, wake up at 5 in the morning to do her makeup. Like, I just didn't, bitch. I liked my sleep. I liked my sleep, and then I'll just go to school when it was like almost time for the bus to come. But her, she would wake up extra early for her appearance, and it would annoy me when people constantly compared me to her. Why can't you be like her? Why can't you dress like her? Why can't you like act like her? You're weird and you're awkward. So it was like installing more insecurity. And I noticed, because my sister had a ugly, you know, she had a little awkward phase as well. I feel like a lot of us had the awkward phase. But my sister, when she had her awkward phase and then she grew up, like she started really taking care of herself, like waking up extra early to like, you know, tidy up before school or anywhere she goes, any gathering we went. She always tidied up and looked good. And I noticed when she did that, everybody was fucking nice to her. Like, my uncles and my aunts would always compliment her and say she's like she's so beautiful, she's doing good in school, and like they just made, like they almost made her seem like she was just so special and so like appreciated, like very like likable. And like for me, it's like I didn't take care of myself. My hair was fucking frizzy as shit. I had horrible acne, which I really was trying. Like anyone who knows about my acne journey, I could make that a whole separate podcast episode. But it was awful. Like years and years of like acne. I actually was trying and it just wasn't going anywhere. I had crooked teeth. I didn't know how to dress because I really hated my body. Like I was developing an eating disorder at that time. And imagine everyone just tearing me apart saying I was fucking ugly and I was weird. And no, like literally it was to the point where my aunts and uncles wouldn't even say hi to me. Don't say hi to my brother because he was like the silly, goofy one that everyone liked. Like he was like always like the class clown. And then there was like my sister who was so beautiful, so funny, so likable. Everyone treated her like royalty. And then there was me. Like I was literally like, hi. Like I'll never forget when it would be Christmas and my sister would get the nicest fucking gifts from like family members and I would always get the most shittiest things. And it was always so fucking weird to me on why. Like I used to internalize the hell out of that. Why am I so unlikable? Why did nobody fucking like me? Like why does everyone treat me like shit? I never forget we all went to church. Woo! I was about to get carried away. You probably saw that from my face. But I'll never forget, we went to this church, like, we would go on the church bus, and I'd realize everybody would treat my brother, it was always my brother and my sister, they treated them so nicely, and then for me, I was literally, like, treated so differently, and I could never understand why. I could never like, I used to internalize it for a long time, like, I must be awkward, I must be ugly, I must be unworthy. Like I would literally I developed like the worst eating disorder and like I would self-harm. I'm like, why the fuck am I so unvaluable? Like why the fuck does no one like me? Why does no one like talking to me? It was just so weird. And I could never pinpoint it. And I think I got fed up at one point where I was like, you know what? I'm tired of fucking being ugly. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. So I remember I was told that I couldn't, wear makeup or like, do anything until I was 13. I remember exactly when the clock hit 12 and I was 13. I was like, Mom, can I use like my sister's mascara? She's like, sure, you're 13 now. Now you can actually buy your own makeup and start wearing makeup. And I remember like that was like the journey of why I, fell in love with makeup. And, anyone knows why I'm so into beauty. It was because of that very moment. Like I remember curling my eyelashes for the first time. Like I had really naturally long eyelashes, as you can see. And I put on mascara and I felt so fucking beautiful. And that's why I always am like, ooh, like whenever I do my makeup, it's like therapy to me. So like it was that feeling. Like no one had to give me validation or nothing. Like I just felt that. I felt I was beautiful. And I was like, okay, I'm cute as shit. And then that was like the journey of like, me exploring so much with makeup. And then before I know it was when this was like, yeah, middle school. I was 13. No. Yeah, it was middle school. I think this was 8th grade going into like 9th grade. I don't fucking know, bitch. But all I know is when it was my freshman year of high school is when I really started feeling like people started treating me differently. And it was like not the differently where it's like bad. It was like differently as in good. Like I think people people started like treating me like, oh, like people suddenly wanted to have conversations with me. Guys started actually hitting on me. And it was weird because can you imagine spending the vast majority of your life being ugly and not being appreciated to suddenly like, whoa, like you actually want to have a conversation with me. Oh, like you actually think I'm funny? You actually think I'm cool? Because, bitch, when I was ugly, I had to rely heavily on my personality. Hence why I'm funny. I'm funny, okay? But, like, I had to heavily rely on my personality. Like, that was the way I made my friends. Because I'm like, let me crack some jokey jokes. Because this looks is not getting us anywhere, unfortunately. And that was really that, like, to summarize all of that. And it was, like, bits and bits and bits. Like, it was just such a weird mind fuck of, like, people not really wanting anything to do with me until I started like really like growing, learning more about makeup, learning about my face, my face shape, what makeup or color suit my I literally taught myself everything from scratch because I really did enjoy makeup. Like that was the beauty that came out of it. Like I really enjoyed makeup to the point of teaching myself that. It wasn't like I'm only learning these things because I want attention and I want to feel validated. A part of that played, but like I really just like makeup. I like learning. I liked the feeling of whenever I did my makeup and how I felt so beautiful. But fast forward to me glowing up, dyeing my hair, really being a bad bitch. And I just started realizing how friendships, relationships, and everything just started becoming really different, and different in a way that I never experienced before. And this is when pretty privilege starts to really come in. Like, when you are pretty, and not only are you pretty, but you have personality, like you have things that are interesting about you, like you're so valuable. Everyone's fucking valuable in their own way, but it's one thing when you actually know you're valuable. People can feel that. So like, imagine like knowing that you're pretty, and also knowing that you're valuable, also knowing that you're funny, and that like you deserve for people to want to be interested in you. Because I low key manifested that more than thinking about it. So I always was insecure on why people never felt that. Like I was ever worthy of having a conversation with. And I think the more I became confident in my appearance, I started like knowing like that was a value and an affirmation. I told myself like I am so worthy of people getting to know, like I'm so worthy of being recognized and stuff like that. And when you develop friendships with women that are not content with themselves, and they don't like have those same built-in values like you do, they will start to attack. And that was like the weirdest thing I had to experience with pretty privilege. I'll never forget this one friendship I had in high school. Probably many people know exactly who I'm talking about, but like we were like this. And I remember when I'd be around, like she was like boy crazy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like everyone at one point gets boy crazy, but like when she was boy crazy, it was to the point of like, it was to the point of like whenever we'd be around guys, she just started to degrade me in front of them. Like she would be like, oh, because I was like, I had a full blown eating disorder, and she didn't even know that. Like I didn't tell anyone. I kept that shit to myself because I felt ashamed. And I remember I was like so skinny, and especially since I was doing soccer, and she was like, oh, men like meat, not bones. Like she'll say weird shit like that, or that I was dressed weird, or that I was awkward, that I was really, really pale. Like it was weird, slick comments like that in front of men. And I always wondered why she did that. And not only that, whenever like I'd be like, oh my god, like I just did my makeup, she'd be like, oh yeah, I probably can recreate that too and probably do better. Like she'll like, it was always competition with her, and I always wondered why. Because when she would tell me like the way that I am and my values, when someone like accomplishes something or does something better than I do, I don't try to like outdo them. I'll fucking like, I'll show love and support. I'll be like, yo, that's fire. Like if it was her saying, I just did my makeup and it slays, I would have been like, yes, bitch, you right. You slay. I wouldn't be like, oh, well, I'm gonna do my makeup and it's gonna be better. Like it was just like a weird thing, like competition. And I noticed that followed a lot, like along with friendships and stuff like that. Like I had friends too where their man would hit on me, and then that would end a friendship. They'll be like, you're such a whore. Like you're messing with my man. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like what? Like it was like weird. Like you would think like it was weird. This is all that I ever wanted growing up, was like, you know, the pretty privilege of like that thing like I was talking about earlier, like what my sister was experiencing, like all that attention, everyone suddenly being nice to you, everyone suddenly like treating you right. Like I wanted to experience it, and I started realizing this ain't what it's made up to be. This is so fucking weird. Like you mean to tell me bitches are gonna be weird as fuck towards me? Like they're gonna always be envious. They're always gonna be trying to be in competition with you because they're so intimidated. And not only that, the ones you really gotta worry about is the friendships with women that play that they love you, play that they show you so much support, but in reality, they're trying to figure out your formula. And when I say they're trying to figure out your formula, they're trying to figure out, how does she do it? How is she so confident? How is she so beautiful? How does she like, because it's one thing to just be pretty. Anyone could fucking develop the like ability to be pretty, in my personal opinion. But like that formula of like being pretty and also having that personality, also being like a magnet, being memorizing, being desirable, like that's not something everyone could have. In my personal opinion, you could have it. Like it's just not something like really easily accessible. Like changing your appearance, like is what I'm trying to say, if any of this makes any sense. Like you can easily make yourself physically desirable, like with not that much effort, but like making yourself internally like desirable to the point where it's like your appearance and your personality, that's not easy, and not many people can do, because it's like your beliefs and the way that you view things is what's gonna play a huge part in that. And then what got even weird is when I started getting into dating. Like when I started getting into dating, it was like, it's so hard, like so hard for me to find a man who looks at me and wants to see me. And that's always been my thing of like, when I know I'm gonna fall in love with someone, or when they're worth like putting that effort and worth, you know, valuing them and seeing the value in them, is when a guy sees me. A lot of what you're gonna deal with when you have pretty privilege is when a guy will look at you and he just is looking at you. When a guy sees you, it's like they see what makes you you. They want to know more about you. Like when a guy like legitimately sees you. But when a guy is just looking at you, he just thinks, "Oh, she's hot. She has nice tits. She has really good makeup, or she's really pretty. She's hot." But when a guy sees you, he sees she's really fucking funny. She's very smart. She's very ambitious. She's very goal oriented. And it's so fucking mind fucking. Like coming across men who just see, who don't even see you, they just look at you. And it's weird because I dealt with this when I was 18. I was so fed up with it, and then I found love, and then me and my ex broke up, and then like getting into this dating world, I had to relearn that, which was really fucking weird. Was relearning, oh my gosh, men just are looking at me. Like men aren't really seeing me. And what's even worse, like don't even get me started on the men that start to get possessive over you, start to get entitled, because what's even weirder is like some men will come across them really liking you. I feel like, ooh, you're probably thinking I'm shirtless and shit. Like I felt my shirt getting low. But what was really weird was like starting to come across men. Like I think the really weird thing about dating when you have pretty privilege is some men will literally come across like they really want you, like they really legitimately desire you. And then the more you start to study them, the more you start to like understand like what are their intentions, like what are they trying to accomplish with me being in their life, because that's always the big question. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish with me being in your life? Are we trying to grow together, trying to better me, I better you, or like what are you trying to gain? And when you ask this, I really recommend you always asking that when you have any sort of friendship, relationship, acquaintance. Like always ask that so you can know people's intentions, so you could try to piece what their intentions are. I usually go about that with dating, but when it came to men and when I started realizing I had pretty privilege, like a lot of men would come across that they really like me, like they really desire me. Like it was even to the point where like we'll get to like the obsessive men that when starts to get really scary. But there's some men that will literally come across like they legitimately like, you know, want me, they want to invest in me, they see me. But then the more I start to look at it and like I said, start to realize what are really their intentions, what are they really trying to gain, there's a lot of men that would try to come into your life only for the sole purpose of like trying to get that dopamine hit of like, oh, I got this baddie, like she's like a trophy to me. Like it isn't like, oh, I see you, I see the value in you. It's like, oh, you would look nice being able to be like accessed. And that's the really weird fucking thing about dating. I really had to learn the hard way, like as of recently. Like I was constantly attracting men like that. Like especially ugly men. That's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. But like when you come across ugly men or men that are not really that secure in themselves, they will be so attracted to like, you know, a girl like that's beautiful, because they're gonna be like, oh, that would be so nice to have you wrapped around my arm, instead of seeing you, instead of like actually being treated as a fucking human. Which is why I'm like so over friends and benefits and situationships, because that's like that's something you would deal with a lot when you have pretty privilege. It's like you'll just have people constantly like play this facade like they really like you, that they see the value in you, they want to invest in you, until you really realize, no, you like the idea of accessing me because it makes you feel better about yourself. It helps install that insecurities you have, because if you're really insecure, you'll be like, oh, well, there must be some sort of worthiness in me because I have this hot girl like giving me the time of day. It's like you will come across men like that. And it's so fucking like not talked about enough. It's so crazy. Scariest part, I think, what comes to pretty privilege is the harassment you'll get. Like the catcalling. Like I said, it's almost like you really stop being a human being. I could literally make a whole episode of this when it comes to like women in like the industry, like this, like, you know, the pop culture industry. It's like I could really make a whole episode in regard to that. But like just talking about myself and just like, you know, my experience as a woman, like dealing with that, it's so fucking weird. Like you'll just come across men that like you could be walking down the street and like men start whistling at you, and I'm like, bitch, am I a fucking dog? Like it's so weird. It will never be like flattering. So I don't know why men do it. Like, do you think when you go woo woo, like I can't fucking whistle. I can't fucking whistle. But like, man, like I don't know why men think that that shit's like hot. Like, oh my god, like why the fuck would you whistle at me down the street thinking I'm gonna fucking do a backflip or that makes my day? That's so fucking insulting. Like what? Or like there'll be men like that try to touch you. Like when I remember I remember on Halloween weekend, me and Natalie went out clubbing, and there was men literally like grabbing me, grabbing my hips, and trying to like. It's weird. Like, what makes you think you could do that? But if I was butt fucking ugly, would you have done that? I bet you not. I bet you not. It's weird, and don't even get me started on obsessive men. We talked about it on this damn podcast, like me dating and the scary men I've experienced. Okay, like, I don't know if you need me to dive into that real quick, but I'll give you a quick summary. Like, you'll just come across men that are, like I said, are so insecure with themselves that they become obsessed with you, or men that are like, they're just not content with themselves, that like they're like, I need to hold on to this because they attach it to their worth. They're like, oh, me having this really hot girl give me attention, making me feel good about myself. Like, I cannot let that go. It's really fucking weird. And some of them get very scary, very like, women get raped, women get beat, women get killed. It's crazy. It's really fucking crazy. And I feel like that's something that's not talked about enough. I don't know. It would never make sense. It will never be not weird to me. And like I said, pretty privilege is still something that's so fucking weird to me because, like I said, I grew up the majority of my upbringing ugly. So then when I started like becoming more attractive, it's like all these like really negative things happen. Now, for the people that are about to go in the comment section like, bitch, like pretty privilege, like people that feel like they don't have pretty privilege are gonna be like, I wish I had it. Trust me, I've been there of like wanting, like, oh my god, that looks so fucking nice though. Trust me. In my personal opinion as well, something I feel like I watch a lot of videos in this topic so I could form, I could take people's opinions and also apply my own for this video. But one thing I feel like a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to pretty privilege is it's not all bad if you know how to use it. Kim Kardashian, like these women in the industry are the biggest examples of like they know how to use it. Of course, there's always going to be negative downsides. Those things you would never be able to run away from. But if you know how to use it and how to use it correctly, bitch, bitch, like I've been recently for the past, like I would say 2 years, I've started really learning how to use the pretty privilege. Because girl, I was using it for a while and I was not using it right, okay? I was attracting shitty men, putting myself in very bad situations. It was not good. But I could truly say for the past 2 years, I've been really learning how to use it to my advantage. People always wonder, Ali, why do you take so much time on your appearance? Before you go, you always need to look dolled up or whatever. I'm not going to say always, because there's a period of time in my life, especially when I was with my last relationship, I did not take care of my appearance. But I would say like last year and like, I'm gonna still implement it this year. I'm so heavy on I need to look presentable everywhere I go. Why? Pretty privilege. Like I said earlier, like growing up, I always wondered why the fuck, like my sister would literally be up at 5 in the morning for school, like doing her hair, doing her makeup, like, and like, spraying perfume, wearing something nice. I always wondered why. But then again, when she did that, everybody was so fucking nice to her. She would be a magnet. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I remember I used to look dusty. I used to look crazy. Like hair frizzy, sweatshirt, sweatpants, fucking crooked ass teeth, looking like Willy Wonka, the Willy Wonka haircut that I had, girl. And I noticed when I take care of my appearance, people are just so much nicer to me. And you had to use that to your advantage because some people, like I said, I mentioned earlier, some people might have malicious intent. Like some people will want to get close to you. Some people would want to like, they will be nice to you, but then like not everyone has good intentions. That's when you have to know how to use it right. You have to know, okay, like I said, always ask when you're meeting anyone, what are their intentions with me? What are they trying to gain? What are they trying to accomplish with me? There you go. Once you discover before they're even honest to you about it, you can move accordingly. Like, okay, this person really seems really grimy. Like they only talk to me when they want something. Or this guy, he keeps acting like my appearance is the most interesting thing about me. Like when it comes to those little signs, you'll know it's not good intentions. I feel like that's something that's not talked about enough when it comes to pretty privilege. It can be fucking gnarly. It can be fucking gnarly. It can be really fucking gnarly to the point where like people act like your appearance is the only interesting thing about you. And that was always the weirdest thing to me. Because it's like I always knew I was interesting. I always knew I deserved to be recognized, like I said. And it'll always be so gnarly to me when I come across people that still act like my appearance is the most interesting thing about me, especially when it comes to dating. Like, you get so sexualized. And of course, I can't play. That's the reason why I don't want to talk about the sexualization, because I sexualize myself. Other people who make videos in that regard, in that topic of sexualized, like being sexualized with pretty privilege, y'all watch their videos. Because for me, I know I'm a little hypocrite. Like, I sexualize myself. But at the same time, there is times it gets really, really fucking annoying where it's like men act like the only thing that's really interesting about me is what I can do in bed or my appearance. And it does get fucking annoying, and it's really insulting. And it's like, there's more to me. There's so much more that I can provide other than that. And it's weird. If you had told, I would say, 11-year-old Allie that this is what she's gonna experience, like this is what she wanted all her life, and this is what she's gonna have to fucking deal with, I would have laughed in your face like, okay, like, bitch, I'm gonna look like Willy Wonka forever. Like, what do you mean? I would have never thought that I got here with my appearance and experienced what I experienced. And it's really fucking gnarly sometimes. It really fucking is. And it's like, wow, this is all that I wanted. And yet I'm like always like, it's really hard to date. It's really hard to make friendships. It's really fucking weird. It can be really scary when men become overly obsessed with you. And it's like, they're not even obsessed with you. They're obsessed with an idea of you or what you can like represent for them. Like, they're an idea of what you could possibly be for them. And it gets really fucking weird. It really does. But like I said, as long as you know how to use a pretty privilege, it's not a bad thing. And anyone out there who's like, Allie, like, I want pretty privilege, trust me, like, just know, I'm not gonna say you don't, because bitch, it's nice, okay? I want to go back to being ugly, okay? I like it here. But I would say that, like, it's not just your appearance. If you're gonna start changing your appearance and all that, it starts from within. Because if you start from within and then you start working on your appearance, then bitch, you are the type of magnet where people are intimidated by you. Like, you are a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, I think this wraps up today's podcast episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this episode is gonna be a long one, but you know what? Why not start off the year with a really long episode that I really do think you guys are gonna enjoy? Because I really enjoyed making this episode on just providing a lot of background on my experience with pretty privilege and like what was going through my mind of like before I experienced it to experiencing it, So I hope that helps people have a better understanding of what it is and what comes with the gig. I love you guys so much. If you are listening to this on Spotify, make sure to give it a 5 stars rating. Bitch, the lights gotta stay on. Be the help. Be the help of this light staying on. And I'd appreciate it because I know you learned something on this episode and you were entertained and you giggled at least once, okay? I know you did, just once. And if you're watching the video version, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment down below. Say that I'm fucking ugly. Say that I'm not qualified to talk about this topic, okay? Drag me in the comment section if you need to. Or if it helped you, comment down below how it helped you and your experience with it as well if you experienced it. But yeah, and make sure to also click that subscribe button down below if you want to see more of me, because why wouldn't you? And I just cannot wait to see you guys in the next podcast episode. Happy New Year's. Bye-bye.